How do crankshafts and connecting rods work in engines? Imagine a machine that turns up and down motions into spinning wheels. That's essentially what happens inside your car's engine. When you step on the gas, a series of tiny explosions happen inside the cylinders. These explosions push the pistons down with great force. Now, how does that force turn into the spinning motion that moves your car? That's where the crankshaft and connecting rods come into play. The piston moves up and down inside the cylinder, and it's connected to a small end of a connecting rod through a pin called the piston pin. The other end of the connecting rod attaches to the crankshaft at a point called the crank pin. As the piston is pushed down by the explosion, the connecting rod transmits this linear force to the crankshaft. Because the crank pin is offset from the main axis of the crankshaft, this push causes the crankshaft to rotate. Think of the crankshaft as a long rod with several offset crank pins. When the connecting rods push on these crank pins, they make the crankshaft spin around. This spinning motion is what eventually powers the wheels of your vehicle. The crankshaft is mounted on bearings inside the engine block, which helps it spin smoothly. It also has counterweights opposite the crank pins to balance the forces and reduce vibrations. The connecting rod has two main ends. The small end connects to the piston via the piston pin, allowing the piston to pivot as it moves up and down. The big end connects to the crank pin on the crankshaft, rotating around it with the help of bearings to keep things smooth. The rod itself transmits the force from the piston to the crankshaft, handling both pushing and pulling forces during the engine cycle. The crankshaft also drives other parts of the engine, like the oil pump, water pump, and timing gears. All these components work together to keep the engine running efficiently. From a thermodynamic point of view, this mechanical system is vital because it transforms the energy released during fuel combustion into the rotational motion that powers your car. So, in simple terms, the connecting rod acts as a link that transfers the piston's up and down force to the crankshaft. The crankshaft then spins this force into the rotational motion needed to turn the wheels. Without these parts working together perfectly, your engine wouldn't be able to produce the power needed to move your vehicle forward.